Hello and welcome to today's webinar on accessing the expertise at American Ancestors. My name is Ginevra Morse, the Director of Education and Online Programs here at American Ancestors and New England Historic Genealogical Society. I will be moderating today's event. We are a nonprofit organization supported by our members and donors. We provide resources and expertise in nearly all aspects of family history and are pleased to offer such programming for our members and friends around the world. Our presenters today are Library Patron Services and Consultations Manager Alice Kane and Research Services Manager Sarah Dery. Alice supervises our team of library genealogists, manages our consultation service, and works with staff to plan and enhance our services to patrons. She joined the NEHGS library staff in 2012 after a 19-year tenure as a librarian at the Boston Public Library. Alice's genealogical specialties include Chinese American genealogy, Massachusetts and New England genealogy, cluster research, database searching, maps, and migration. Sarah is a graduate of Rhode Island College in Providence with a bachelor's degree in anthropology and English. She is the main point of contact and liaison for the research services team, working closely with patrons and clients to understand their research needs and ensure that their projects are completed in a timely manner. Sarah grew up in North Attleboro, Massachusetts, and has a lifelong passion for American history. So whether you've been doing genealogy for several weeks or several years, you will, at various points throughout your research, benefit from the experience and expertise of a genealogist. Maybe you've hit a brick wall in your research, want to apply to a lineage society, need help deciphering old handwriting, or want advice on where to turn next. And American Ancestors can help. Our experts have decades of experience and specialize in topics and areas that really span the globe. We assist family historians through one-on-one consultations, online chat services, research for hire, and more. Today, Alice and Sarah will discuss a number of ways that we can help you with your research. And at the end of today's presentation, we'll tell you about two special offers that you won't want to miss. At any point during the presentation, feel free to type your question in the questions panel to the right of your screen. We'll address as many as we can at the end. There is no handout for this presentation, but we are recording this event. And starting tomorrow, you can easily go back and review any of the content from the presentation on our website. And you will also receive an email from me with links to some of those key services and contacts that we'll go over today. All right, so without further ado, I will now turn things over to Alice.
Thank you, Ginevra, and welcome everyone to today's presentation on accessing the expertise at NEHGS from home. As Ginevra has said, whether you've been researching for a number of years or just beginning with your family history research, all genealogists are going to hit that brick wall at some point. And as we explore our families and their records, we're always working from the known to the unknown. And of course, there's always a lot to discover. Beyond our online programs, such as this one that you're attending, there are, of course, a number of ways that you can actively engage with the experts here at NEHGS and receive research assistance without leaving home. And these services are available to all current members as well as the general public. First, let me introduce you to some of our experts. Besides myself, our patron services team includes, from the top left, Chief Genealogist David Allen Lambert, genealogists Tricia Mitchell, Melanie McComb, Senior Genealogist Rhonda McClure, and from the bottom left, genealogists Ann Lauthers and Tom Dreyer. Rounding out our team is Consultations and Copy Services Coordinator Cheryl Gilmore-Thies, who some of you will likely be working with if you schedule a consultation with us. In addition to this staff, depending on your query, we can also draw on a couple of other areas of American Ancestors and NEHGS, including publications or special collections, depending on your question. We all have lots of different experiences and expertise with New England research, but of course we have our own specializations as well. Our patron services genealogists are able to discuss with you military records research, research approaches for French Canadian, Irish, German, and Italian ancestors, and applying DNA results to your research, just to name a few of these specialties. Our services direct members and visitors to documents or resources that answer or put you on the right road to answering your questions. In all of our services, we strive to help you become more efficient and effective researchers of your family history. So first up for our services is the Ask-a-Genealogist service, which is an email reference service open to NAHGS members. This service is actually the longest running of all of our reference services in the library. To visit the Ask-a-Genealogist service page, you want to go to our AmericanAncestors.org website, and on the main page, drop down the menu under the word Services, and select the Ask a Genealogist option. This free service is accessible to NAHGS members by email using our online form, or if you want, you can email us directly at askagenealogist@nehgs.org. Our patron services genealogists don't conduct research, but they can spend up to 20 to 30 minutes investigating resources that they can recommend for your specific question. Our turnaround time falls somewhere between 2 to 6 weeks, depending on the volume of questions that we have at the time that you send yours in. Our responses are often direct back to the questioner, but sometimes for questions that have a broader appeal to all family historians, we might select some of these reference questions for publication either in the weekly genealogist e-newsletter or for publication in the American Ancestors magazine. The original questioner will be notified if their question and its answer is selected for publication, and no identifying information about the questioner is ever published. The Ask a Genealogist service page gives you some sample questions as well as the official form for your query. The URL can be typed into your browser as shown, americanancestors.org/services/ask-a-genealogist. When you complete the form, do remember to give names, dates, places related to the individual or family that you have a question about, and do outline briefly some of the sources that you've already checked, and to be clear about your reference question. I'd like to offer a sample question that we have received in our Ask a Genealogist service. This is a very succinct rendering of the original question, which did include some specific family names and towns. The questioner found reference to a transcribed will and also had a transcribed death registration that gave some very confusing dates. And so they wanted to know, how can a death date be later than a proven will date? In our back-checking of the details, we were able to find the original will digitized, and we provided a URL to that digitized copy to the questioner. A quick review of other details that the questioner supplied gave us a look at the will, which told us it was written 3 days before its proving date, so that we were able to explain that the family member in question might have been very, very ill, and that factor was what encouraged the rest of the family to get a will quickly written up and then proven. But it turned out that ultimately the person lived a little bit longer beyond the actual proving of the will. Because the person also found a transcribed registration of the death from that town that he was in, we also suggested looking in town vital, burial, and church record sources in the town and the nearby towns for that person, just in case that there might have been a transcription error error, we suggested that as many town records as possible could be checked, and we provided URLs for those towns that we recommended. Now, this is a sample of what not to ask. It does not provide enough details about the questioner's project to make any useful recommendations. Locations and dates are certainly as important as the individual names in the question. Giving the genealogist more information about this person's family, such as a spouse and additional children, would certainly have helped our expert identify the family being researched and to do some poking around that information, and then to be able to offer some strategy such as researching common names or particular resources. Vital records in probate can definitely vary depending on their geography and the time frame, so that our genealogists not only will point them towards these records resources, but we can also provide contextual information around the resource and the geography in question. Next up is the library chat service. This is a new service that was started earlier this spring, and like your local public library that might offer the same thing, we have the opportunity for you to speak with one of our staff genealogists live. Like the Ask-a-Genealogist reference service, online chat is an opportunity to get a very specific question answered in real time, and access to the chat is offered from our main page. This is a sample of one of the panels that you might see on our main page on the few days before the actual chat service happens on Tuesday afternoons between 3 and 4. You can also type in the direct URL into your favorite browser's address field, americanancestors.org/chat. So our chat service is intended to offer quick reference help via an online chat, and the service itself is free and again is available on Tuesdays in the afternoon for 1 hour between 3 and 4 o'clock Eastern Time in the United States. Anyone, regardless of your membership, can visit our chat page to ask a question of any of our genealogists on duty. We'll respond in real time to your question using the chat window as our common communicator. And if you have any questions for our service, about our service, please contact us at library@nehgs.org. So as a quick service, in-depth research is not possible via this chat service, and occasionally you might have to wait a moment or two while the genealogist does a lookup or checks a book on shelf. In case there's a connection problem, or if the genealogist later comes up with some follow-up information, your email address is often requested while you're waiting to be connected to one of us. And if the service turns out to be extremely busy on a particular Tuesday, you can also email our question to the NEHGS library using the same address that I've mentioned before, library@nehgs.org. When you're using our chat, if you find yourself typing in a lot of information to set up your question for the genealogist, please consider using the Ask-a-Genealogist service for a written response to your question, or maybe consider booking a consultation for a dedicated conversation with a genealogist. More about that in just a moment. Finally, a few things about the chat window itself. These things are tiny icons, so they're a little hard to see. While you're using our chat, if you would like to send us a record image or some sort of other file that you'd like us to review and comment on, you're welcome to do so by clicking on the paperclip icon. The paperclip icon will open a standard window in your own computer, and it will allow you to find the folder and the specific file that you'd like to send to us. We can look at all the standard image formats such as PNG and JPEG, and this option can also allow you to send us a PDF if you need to. To keep a transcript of the conversation that you've just had with one of us, you can use the envelope icon to email yourself a transcript of your interaction with the genealogist. When you click this, a little window will open and it will ask you to enter the email address that you'd like a transcript to be sent to. And finally, the boxed arrow icon will expand the chat window for you for a wider view of your conversation. Depending on your browser settings, it may or may not also enlarge the fonting that you're using to have the conversation. So finally, our consultation service is actually available with two different options. For our general consultation sessions, this has been part of our service since the beginning of offering these types of sessions. The consultations page can be reached again via our main page at AmericanAncestors.org using the services drop-down, and the option would be consultant expert. Whether you're stuck on a brick wall or just want pointers to continue the work yourself, our genealogists can do a quick review of your project and give recommendations and guidance. Members and the general public can book our consultations using the online form or direct email to consultations@nehgs.org. Typical sessions that we've booked for the consultations run about 30 or 60 minutes long in person at the library, via telephone, or by online video conference using Zoom software. By the way, this software also allows us to record your session, and we will share a copy of the recording with you at the end. Our genealogists will prepare using the information you provide, but they won't actively search for records for you. And being an NEHGS member can provide you with some consultation benefits. As you can see here in our benefits grid, we have the hourly rate per level of membership that you're with us. The guest user and individual and family members do not have any free consultation time attached to it, but the individual hourly rates are $105 for guests and $85 for our researching members, whether individual or family. And then our contributing members will receive an extra discount of $10 off the price at $75 per hour, but they also get annually with their membership at that level consultation time, free consultation time, and that time does not immediately expire at the end of the membership year that you receive it. If it is unused during that first year that you receive it, we will allow you to carry it forward 2 more years so that you can accumulate a bigger chunk of time to use for your consultation session. So all told, 3 years are available for the time that you receive at that membership level before it actually expires. If you happen to change your membership status, we will keep track of the time that you have available and whether it's still valid or not. Please visit our AmericanAncestors.org website membership area to see more benefit details for your membership. A quick overview of our booking process involves, of course, your submitting an order form at our AmericanAncestors.org website. And then once you've submitted your basic information and your questions and goals for the session, we will match you with a genealogist experienced in the geography, time frame, or topic. Again, we can draw on other areas of the society, and if you need help with, say, publications, writing and publishing, we can request someone from our publication staff to also be available. We'll determine the general length of the session, but we will consider all requests that you make in the request form as to how much time you would like and to choice of genealogists. The offer and acceptance portion will include conferring with Cheryl Gilmore-Thies, our coordinator, to work out the best date between you and the assigned genealogist. I should note that we do email our offers out, and we have received reports that a number of the offers, unfortunately, have ended up in people's respective junk or spam mail folders. So if you do work with us in scheduling a consultation, do remember to check that to make sure you see your offer and our information. Once you have booked your session, the genealogist will expect to receive any and all additional information that you'd like to send. Our original order form doesn't really allow a lot of room for you to put in a lot of information, and really at that point we're definitely more interested in getting a feel for the project in question that you have so that we can match you. So once you've booked your session, we will provide you with the consulting genealogist's email address, and then you can forward even more details and record images or group sheets or charts to the genealogist for review. If you have any questions about the service, you can check in with Cheryl. Some sample topics that our genealogists have tackled during our general sessions include reviewing data and potential solutions for your brick wall ancestor, advice for finding documents that are required for a Lineage Society application, or if you're just curious but want to be thorough in having everything documented, we can certainly help with that. Post-testing DNA consultations with us include a review of your DNA results, working with you to understand the results that you're seeing and how to navigate through your account page, sometimes also helping you review your matches to see who would best answer your question. We can certainly review all of that to help you apply DNA to your research. Again, session lengths range from 30 to 2 minutes to 2 hours, and our sessions are also meant to be flexible to your conversation. While we will certainly book you for a particular time, you're not held to that. It really depends on the conversation that you're having with the genealogist. So if you want to end early, you can do that. If you want to sail onwards past the scheduled time, you're welcome to do that. Again, the sessions max out at the 2-hour mark. So here we have a sample consultation question that we've received in the past, and it's concerning a person whose portrait one of our members has, and the person was able to provide some information around that individual, including the name of the spouse and one of the daughters who is that person's direct ancestor. And the question that was posed was how he immigrated to Boston, who all of his children were, and what kind of what ships and where did he trade as part of his livelihood as a ship captain. Since the original question was more historical, how we helped was definitely stilted towards a beginner in genealogy, just from the questions that were asked and the information provided. We were able to work with the member in introducing them to researching standards and record keeping in genealogy. They were not fully aware of vital records and church records, how to locate and what they might contain. We were also able to introduce them to using probate records and use their ancestor as an example, and did a tutorial on locating probate records not only on our AmericanAncestors.org website, but also in using Family Search. And then finally, as part of the session, we suggested and provided contact information for relevant historical societies, other library repositories, maritime museums, to try and answer his trading questions. Based on the question, we actually covered quite a bit of area in doing research. So I mentioned before that a number of these questions are real questions that we have actually worked with, and this is definitely one that shows that there's not enough specific information for the questioners from this questionnaires project to be useful in order to assist them, especially on a short timeline. Resources such as vital records and probate definitely depend on the geography, and this is really not enough information to be able to provide enough assistance, and we're definitely more likely to decline such a request. So the other aspect of our consultation service is what we call our personal genealogist for the day. This is a service for members and other visitors to our research center here in Boston. This is a variation of our usual consultation service where we provide guidance in our general consultation service sessions. The genealogist in this service will actively be researching with you during the session. The personal genealogist for the day service is definitely best suited for those who are interested not only in the answers to their questions, but also in learning research method and more about the resources that you're working with. This is really a terrific opportunity to observe the thought processes that a genealogist goes through in answering a question. To access the service page, again, at our AmericanAncestors.org main page, under Services, drop down the menu item to see our Personal Genealogist for the Day option. The consultation timing of these sessions vary. We offer a 3-hour option, which is available as a morning session for 3 hours between 10 and 1, or an afternoon between 1 and 4. For longer questions or more complex questions, we also offer a 5-hour option, which roughly breaks down to 2 hours in the morning, a lunch, and then a lunch to recharge, and then a 3-hour session in the afternoon to hopefully make great strides in your project. So in this case, again, the personal genealogist for the day sessions are meant to for us to actively do the research with you. You will sort of sit back, take notes, absorb research method and information about how a particular question can be answered. And for information, if you have any questions about the service, definitely consultations at nehgs.org is the place to go. For the booking, this is a slight difference to our booking session, a personal genealogist for the day session. We definitely will ask you to submit a quick order form, but in the case of personal genealogist for the day, you can submit a longer and fuller description of your actual project. We will review all the information that you send to match us with the genealogist, and then the genealogist will also review and let us know, in their opinion, what the length of the session would be, whether it would be a 3-hour session would be suitable for your project in question, or whether a 5-hour one would be. And then we would negotiate the specific day of the session, and once you've accepted it, in this case, we do require a reservation of the date that you've accepted, so payment in advance is required in this case. And again, once fully reserved and booked, any additional information that was not included in your detailed project description can be forwarded directly to the genealogist for preparation for the big day. The Personal Genealogist for a Day page features service information as well as, again, a very simple form to get contact information from about you. And more importantly, you can upload the information about your project. The project description, again, can be as full as you can make it with as much detail as you can. You can submit the file as a PDF or as a Word document. And be sure that when you submit the description that, again, like the online form, you include a quick list of resources that you've already checked for your project. So here's a sample project for our personal genealogist for the day. The project itself was from someone who is at the very beginning of getting into their family history, and they had wanted to confirm family stories of a Revolutionary War patriot and a Mayflower connection. A lot of this had been going around in the family, and he had inherited quite a lot of information from several family members that were pursuing these exact stories for a number of years. And now it came down to him, and he wanted to learn as much as he could, not only about the validity of these stories, but also to become a better researcher. So preparatory information that he gave to us included the requested narrative summary. He also included images of various notes pages from his relatives that had anecdotal information. He provided us also a GEDCOM file that we used to take a overall look at the full family. And then we also saw PDF files of handwritten notes from 3 different researching family members, and digested all of that information to help prepare for the big day in doing research for them. And then he also included images of vital record data, vital information from 2 different family Bibles. So all of that combined to create a session that would, again, help him answer these questions as well as introduce him and introduce research methods to him. So how we helped, again, this is very similar to what we had done already. Since he was in the beginning of doing research, we not only introduced him to research standards and record keeping, but we also discussed in detail the aspects of cluster or fan research to help him continue researching other lines of his family. We introduced with database tutorials to vital church, probate, and land records, using his different relatives as examples to show him how it's done, and again to look for records to answer the question. We also covered lots of historical backgrounds as to why certain records were created one way or another, why they were even created at all. We had discussions about the various geographies, what was unique or unusual about them for records. And then finally, he also brought a fair number of other documents as well, which we reviewed in concert with the information that we already had. And through analyzing some of the records that he brought, in addition to the information that we had poked around and found during preparation, we were able to locate the smoking gun documents, if you will, that helped to confirm lineage to a Mayflower passenger and to help our member become a member of the SAR. So all in all, for our patron services reference and consulting services, do be specific about your questions and the type of information that you already have. All of that will assist us in being able to provide you with the best possible recommendations and guidance for your project. And now, next up will be Research Services Manager Sarah Dery to talk about research services.
Thank you, Alice, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. Alongside our Director of Research Services, Lindsay Fulton, I help manage a team of 20 full and part-time expert researchers. The team can help you in a variety of ways, both online and in person. Each of our expert researchers is knowledgeable in a variety of topics and geographic locations. We not only cover the New England area, but have expertise in all of the United States, as well as countries like Ireland, Germany, and France. Our team is made up of 3 senior researchers and 17 full and part-time researchers. A senior researcher is someone of seniority at NEHGS and has a vast knowledge of genealogy and geographic locations. All of the researchers on our team specialize in one or a few geographic regions in genealogy. The research services team offers additional services in collaboration with the library and consultations team. So no matter how big or small your inquiry is, there's always someone at NEHGS that can help. Our team can dedicate time to in-depth research on your behalf, whether it's to verify a Mayflower line, make sure you're tracing the right family, or to complete a family history book. Both NEHGS members and non-members can commission a project with us. Each of our research projects start with a service called an expert assessment. Our expert assessment service is an inquiry that will be assigned to a senior researcher on our team. Your commissioned project will start with a full examination of your current work and include a personalized research strategy on how best to proceed with answering your inquiry. I'll go into more detail about our expert assessment service later on in this webinar. So how can research services help you? Whether you have hit a brick wall, you want to identify the parents of an ancestor, or you would like to locate a Mayflower passenger in your tree, we can certainly help. The inquiries we receive cover a range of topics, both historically and genealogically. Our team can assist in helping you apply for dual citizenship, help you to apply to any lineage society of your choosing, or even design a custom family chart for you and your loved ones to enjoy. The next few slides will be a breakdown of some of the services that our team offers. Our newest addition is our Digitization of Family Collections service. This service is great for individuals who have a lot of family photos and records that they want in a digital format for future generations to access. Whether you have a single box of loose papers or a well-organized collection, we can help put all of your information into an easy-to-find and view digital format. Our digitization service has become more and more popular. It allows our research services expert archivists to carefully scan and convert your family papers and photos into an electronic format. This will allow easier access to your treasured documents, photos, and family papers. With this service, you will receive a 1 terabit external hard drive, along with a finding aid, which helps you to easily access and locate that one family photo or handwritten letter. All of the images will be scanned at 400 DPI and saved as a JPEG, TIFF, or PDF file. And best of all, these images can be easily shared with your entire family with a simple click of the mouse. All of our digitization projects are based on the size of your current collection and do require an in-depth conversation to give an approximate cost estimate. So what can we digitize for you? Whether your collection consists of a few photos or you have many, many boxes, we can certainly help. The preservation is the action of preserving something, and at NEHGS we believe that starts with you at home. Handwritten letters and diaries, along with any genealogical notes and family photos, can be scanned and saved to an external hard drive for your use with any PC or Mac computer. Your collection will be kept safely at NAHGS and will be returned to you upon the completion of the digitization project. Best of all, you'll receive a finding aid that will be a categorized outline of each item scanned, the date of the item, if that's available, and the file name which corresponds to the hard drive. Our next option is applying for dual citizenship. Dual citizenship refers to the status of an individual who holds the nationality of 2 different countries at the same time. Dual citizenship can offer many benefits, particularly if you travel frequently between countries. You won't need to apply for a visa to enter either country. You can also benefit from the rights to work, vote, and own property in both countries. For those that have applied for dual citizenship in the past, you know that this can be a lengthy and overwhelming process. So our researchers are available to walk you through each step, collect all the necessary documentation, and organize the materials needed for your citizenship interview. We also recommend an in-depth conversation before you start the process of applying for dual citizenship. So far, we have successfully completed applications in Ireland and Italy. Next, and one of our most popular services, is to help you to apply to a Lineage Society. A Lineage Society is an organization created to honor a specific heritage or event. Applicants of Lineage Societies must prove their descent through verified genealogical proof. We help clients compile their research to join Lineage Societies like General Society of Mayflower Descendants, Sons or Daughters of the American Revolution, the National Society of the Colonial Dames of America, the Society of the Cincinnati, and many more. Whether you've recently found out about your qualification to join a Lineage Society or you've been working on the application for a while, NAHGS Research Services can certainly help. We also offer a personalized and detailed family chart service. With research included, you can commission a chart that will be genealogically verified and designed by a researcher on our team. Whether you only know a few generations of your family members or you have a completed family tree in its entirety, we can create a personal chart for you. Like each of our previously mentioned services, this product also starts with an expert assessment, which will help to confirm your family research, and then we'll work with you to display the main ancestor of your choosing in a beautiful chart form. For example, this chart depicts the connection between our NAHGS member to an early New England settlers. This client has 2 Mayflower passengers, William Brewster and John Howland, along with one of the leading figures in founding Massachusetts Bay Colony, John Winthrop. The image you see above has been created by one of our research services team members, and it's just one sample of the charts that we've done this past year. The staff at NAHGS views a lot of different family trees every day, and we often hear the same thing: my tree isn't up to date. So now it can be with our tree cleanup service. We will help format the names, dates, and locations of each ancestor profile, along with verifying the work you've done so far. Genealogists rely on records, so if you have an ancestor profile that solely relies on other member tree information, we will review the material to ensure you have an accurate entry for each person on your tree. Depending on the client request, we can also delete ancestor profiles that are not correctly sourced and provide you with ways to continue on your research path. We offer this service on a variety of different tree programs like Ancestry.com, Roots Magic, Family Tree Maker, and American Ancestors and Ancestries. All of the services that I've previously mentioned all start with an expert assessment. A reminder, an expert assessment service is an inquiry that will start with a full examination of your current work and include a personalized research strategy on how best to proceed with answering your inquiry. It is the first step in hiring us to conduct research work for you. We were able to accept your family information like records or family trees through email, third-party sharing sites, and postal mail. The completed expert assessment report will be a detailed research strategy with clear instructions, which will help you to proceed with your family research. The main goal for our expert assessment service is to allow NEHGS to help you at home and to provide some helpful tips from our expert staff. All of the expert assessments will be written in a way that anyone in your family can pick up and continue on your family research path. But you may also decide to hire a researcher at NEHGS to carry out the work for you. A recommendation on research hours and costs will be outlined in the expert assessment report, along with any documentation that was located along the way. This expert assessment service starts at $675, but we also offer a rush service for those that have a time constraint. And we also are offering expert assessment gift certificates for family and friends. So now that you've learned about some of the services our team offers, you can visit AmericanAncestors.org for additional details on how to get started. On our homepage, you can hover over the word Services in the horizontal menu at the top of the page. A drop-down menu will appear that allows you to choose between all the services that Alice and I spoke to about today. The free research assessment quote box is for the research services team. There are a number of different websites that you can visit from this area, and it also allows you to send an inquiry to us by filling out the form to the right of the page. Under the Learn More section, you can read an explanation of the expert assessment process, browse samples of our expert assessments, and even read about our expert research services team. So how do you start the process of hiring a researcher? When you contact our research services team, you will either speak with myself or our Director of Research Services, Lindsay Fulton. You can reach us by phone, email, online form, or by scheduling a one-on-one meeting to discuss what service is best for you. Once you've commissioned a project with us, it will be assigned to a senior researcher on our staff. If we have any follow-up questions for you or clarifications on your project goal, your senior researcher may contact you by email or phone. Otherwise, you'll hear from us when the expert assessment is completed and your project is ready for viewing. The finished expert assessment report will include a summary of your research question, preliminary research completed by your assigned senior researcher, any documentation that was found along the way, and recommendations on how to proceed with answering your research inquiry. This example expert assessment was attempting to help a client locate evidence of their ancestors' origins in Poland before 1900. We were able to locate the ancestors' naturalization record, the passenger list, and information on the townland in Poland, along with suggestions on where to go next to discover more information about their immigrant ancestor. We also help a lot of individuals search their tree for the possibility of applying to a lineage society. This particular expert assessment was completed by a senior researcher on our team who was given a lineage society application approved through the General Society of Colonial Wars. We were able to search through 7 surnames on the application to identify any connection to a Society of the Cincinnati Patriot or a passenger to apply to the General Society of Mayflower Descendants. In the completed assessment, we were able to identify problem generations and hint at areas where vital records may not exist for the client's application. This expert assessment also allowed us to determine the amount of research time needed to complete 2 Lineage Society applications, complete with original documentation for each generation of the application. If you'd like to learn more about the Research Services team, be sure to pick up a copy of the spring 2019 issue of American Ancestors magazine. I had the honor of writing a behind the scenes with NEHGS Research Services article, which expands on our team, the type of inquiries we receive, and even the top 10 hidden gem online resources. I had a great time writing this article, and there's a lot of great useful information in there. So before we move on to our questions, here's a quick summation of how American Ancestors experts can help you and how the services differ. Again, Ask-a-Genealogist is a free service that operates like a research advice column. Our Consultations offers one-on-one research assistance either over the phone or in person. And our research services team can provide a number of services such as expert assessments of your current research, family charts, and digitization of your family papers. All of these services are open to both NEHGS members and non-members. You can contact each department at the email addresses on your screen, and Ginevra will also include the contact information in her follow-up email for you tomorrow. As a special thank you for joining us today, we are offering two specials. Research Services is offering a discount of $100 off an expert assessment. At the conclusion of this webinar, you'll receive a special email discount code that can be used through AmericanAncestors.org to receive $100 off your expert assessment service. This discount will be available for a limited time, but it can be purchased to be used at a later date. We do know that the holidays are right around the corner, so please book early. And secondly, there's a special offer from the Library Patron Services team to all participants registered to this webinar. You'll receive $10 off the total charge of a general consultation session, or you can receive $25 off the cost of a personal genealogist for the day session. You will have some time to consider your topic and put your information together, as we'll honor this offer for bookings made through May 31st, 2020. The session itself can occur after May 31st, but it must be booked by this date to qualify for the offer discount.
All right. Well, thank you both, Alice and Sarah, for your great presentation. So now let's turn to your questions. If you have anything that you'd like to ask, go ahead and type it into the questions panel, and we'll try to answer as many as we can in the next 10 minutes or so. So Alice, a question for you. Tom asks, what type of documents, information, etc., and how much should you bring with you to a consultation? So either, what types of materials, and again, how much of that material should you either send in advance or bring with you to a consultation?
Certainly for the general sessions, you can bring family group sheets and multi-generation charts with you. Certainly we can work with you using your own laptop computer with genealogy software. When sending preparatory information, charts and a narrative summary, if that's your habit, as you research to create a narrative summary, will accept that as well. If you are able to give us a GEDCOM file or a link to your online tree, we can certainly take a look at all of those electronic formats as well. What you bring to the consultation session is truly your choice. We definitely would like to see as much information as possible prior to for the preparation. For general session, we'll be happy to go through any documents that you might bring with you, and hopefully that will help the consultation move along.
And Sarah, a question for you. Jewel asks, is there a time limit on research services?
There is a wait time of 6 to 7 months for all of our expert assessments. We usually spend about 1 day of full work per expert assessment, and then depending on what the researcher recommends, it can be anywhere from a 5-hour continuation project to a 100-hour continuation project.
Great. And, several people are actually asking about our expertise in all parts of Canada, Lower Canada, PEI, Quebec, Western Canada. And I know that both for consultations, both on our patron services staff and our research services staff, that we have several people who deal with Canada on a regular basis. And so that's very much what we do. Sarah or Alice, do you want to say anything else about kind of our expertise, at least in that area? Because a lot of people are asking, do we do Canada? Can we help? Alice, do you want to say something? Great.
Yes, we certainly have quite a bit of expertise on our staff, despite our name with the New England geography in it. We definitely will have experts on staff who can help track your ancestors who have come here from Canada or maybe have gone to Canada and come back. Depending on your research question, we will definitely be assigning the best possible expert to work with you on your project in Canada.
And Sarah, do you also want to mention something about that?
We have a few researchers who specialize in Canadian genealogy, myself being one of them. My family originates from Quebec. So a lot of our senior researchers and researchers use their own family history to become familiar with specific geographic areas. So we've covered, all across Canada from Quebec, Nova Scotia, all the way to Vancouver.
Great. And I think, as we've discussed a few times, we do so much more than New England. We can really help with nearly, any part of family history, whether it's methodology or handwriting or writing and publishing or preservation or organization or, geographic area. So if you're wondering, do we do that? It doesn't hurt just to kind of reach out to us and say, do you have an expert in this area? Are you able to help us? There's no cost just to kind of reach out and say, hey, can you help me with this? Sarah, do you want to add something to that as well?
Yeah, more recently we've had individuals contact us about reading documents. More recently we had a historical society in Vermont contact us in research services. They had a collection of documents that were framed. They didn't know anything about them. They couldn't read the handwriting, but they brought them to us. So we scanned them in our archive, and we were able to read them, and it turned out that they were documents from the 14th century. They were written in chancery script in Latin, and we actually had to locate someone outside of NEHGS that actually could read the document for us, but we have the resources here where we're able to kind of think outside the box and get that figured out for you.
Great, thank you. Alice, a few questions for you as far as kind of timing in regards to the consultations. So Carolyn asks, once you submit kind of an order or a request for a general consultation session, how long generally before your consultation is booked? What's kind of the general or the average turnaround between request and actually booking the consultation?
Thank you. We actually ask that members and guests try to book their consultation sessions at least 4 weeks in advance, so that we have an opportunity to review and also prepare once the session is booked, to prepare for your session using information that you provide. Granted, if you are traveling, we will try to accommodate your travel plans, and if there is a genealogist available on the day that you plan to be here, we will make every effort to match you up and have a session for you. But depending on when the booking is, there may be a rush fee involved for the service in booking on a short time frame. Our typical turnaround would be 4 weeks but we can book as recently as the day before if needed, but there would be rush fees involved.
And also, if someone's doing a DNA consultation, which is, again, a very popular topic for our general sessions, can that be done? Can that topic be done online, or does it have to be done in person?
That would be entirely up to you. We have provided consultation review of your DNA results and working through a person's matches and discussing how to apply the results to research, to answer the questions of connecting between two people. These sessions can be live with our genealogists, but they can also be online. We have an online video conference option, which would allow us to share screen with you so that we can actually be real time with you in your account and discuss all of the DNA possibilities with you in an online consultation.
Great, thank you. Now, Dolores asks another great question. She says, I have a brick wall with with small information, with not a lot of information. Which of these services should I start with? So if you're unsure of which, even though we've kind of provided an overview, but say you don't have a lot to go with, how do you select which service to use? Can you just contact us and talk it through? Sarah, why don't you answer this question?
Sure. So the best way is to give us a call, reach out to us. We can explain all the services that NEHGS offers, and give you different options of what might work and how to proceed. Usually the way that I kind of narrow down the search for which service is best for you is if you want to continue the work on your own, but you need feedback or advice, you can reach out to the library staff. They will be able to point you in the right direction and give you guidelines to follow. If you're interested in having someone else do the research, if you're tired, overwhelmed, don't know where to go, you've just kind of had enough, you can hire a researcher through research services to conduct the work for you.
All right. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for your great questions. If we didn't get to your question today, or if you think of one as you start to, digest this information, or maybe consider hiring us to help with one of your brick walls or other matters, you can always email us at the two emails that you see on your screen. You can write to consultations@nehgs.org or research@nehgs.org. As I stated at the start of this presentation as well, I will be providing you those key URLs to all of the services as well as their contact information in an email follow-up, as well as all of the information for the promo codes and the special offers that we mentioned today. You'll receive that by email. So thank you again for joining us today. As you leave the event, you'll have the opportunity to fill out a survey and give us your feedback. As we continue to expand our webinars and online offerings, any and all feedback is extremely helpful and appreciated. And if you'd like to access more how-to resources or learn about upcoming online educational programs, please visit our online learning center at americanancestors.org/education. I hope to see you at our online programs in the future. Goodbye for now.